Passport to the World is proudly sponsored by Trafalgar. Simply the best way to holiday. Trafalgar offers a myriad guided holidays, such as a 3-country trip to Spain, Portugal, and Morocco at a cost everyone can afford. The reason why you don't have to forfeit your travel plans due to the weak rand-dollar exchange? Trafalgar is offering their 2015 rates for all trips booked for 2016. Visit our website www.trafalgar.com and read all about our fabulous guided holidays for singles, couples, groups, and families.
Good morning and welcome to Passport to the World with me, Cathy Retief-Neil. I'm so excited this morning. I can barely contain my excitement because so many things are happening in the studio. I have my all-time favorite guest in the studio with me, Dawn Jorgensen. We're going to be talking to her in a wee bit. And of course, folks, today is the first day of our massive Trafalgar Tours competition. So if you've ever fantasized about packing your suitcase and taking off on that once-in-a-lifetime holiday, here's your chance. This is the first week of our Winner Dream Holiday with Trafalgar Tours, so listen carefully, as sometime during the show I will ask you the first question. Each week over 10 weeks, I'll ask a new question, and the answer to each question can be found on the Trafalgar website, www.trafalgar.com. Now, of course, if you enter weekly, that will increase your chances of winning. So listen very carefully every week for the next 10 weeks, and we will draw the lucky winner on the 11th week. But that's not the end of the news. When we have drawn the winner of the Trafalgar Tour, we will also draw 2 people who can accompany moi. So you can go on a trip with me. We'll be taking off somewhere, whether we'll be flying somewhere or driving somewhere or training somewhere. I don't know. Training sounds rather odd, doesn't it? Chuk train, I mean. Then you can join me and another 20 people, friends, media people, and so on. And we will be doing a fabulous trip to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Passport to the World. I cannot believe it's been 10 years. You know, when you're having fun, the time really does fly. So listen in, and just remember with the competition, SMSs cost R1.50 and free SMS bundles do not apply. So listen in, and I shall be asking you the question sometime during the show. Dawn, welcome. It's lovely to have you back in the studio.
Thank you, Cathy. Really good to be here. I love coming in and seeing you. I've so been looking forward to it.
It's lovely to have you here, believe me. And I think I'm just going to sit back and relax, and you're going to do all the talking.
Oh, no. As I said, Switzerland is your home from home. So I'm going to be listening and learning about this country that I also have grown to love from
Absolutely. But I know I have to be quiet because when you talk about Switzerland, I really battle not to say too much. So I'm going to try very hard not to talk too much about Switzerland. I'm only joking. We're going to have a lovely time.
We are.
Dawn, you went fairly recently, and it was your first visit, I believe.
No, actually, It was my second visit. I traveled with Swiss International Airlines, and we were there in December for a complete In Love with Switzerland Winter Wonderland experience. But I had been the previous year also with Swiss, and that was more for an opportunity to see what Switzerland looks like when the hills are green, and you know they sort of have all those little fluffy cows on them with their cowbells. And it was definitely at the end of summer, but they'd had their first sprinkling of snow, and everything was just so beautiful. So I feel so lucky that I've got to see it in more of a summer season, as well as now when I was there, which was completely snow covered.
Oh, so this was your first winter experience?
It was my first winter experience in Switzerland and in Europe. So I'd never actually been to Europe and been in snow or ski villages or had any experience like that before. So it was really very special.
Well, I'm betting it's not going to be the last time, because if you're like me, you'll just fall in love with Switzerland. In fact, I think you have already.
I have
When I follow your blog, The Incidental Tourist, and follow you on Facebook, which I do eagerly, I can see you had an absolutely wonderful time. So tell us all about it.
Well, on this trip, there was just a small group of us, which was quite nice, and we were divided into different areas of interest. And I was just able to be the absolute tourist. So for me, and I was actually with Nigel Pearce, who I think a lot of Cape Townians will know. Radio chap. And traveling with the representative of Swiss, we just arrived and had this this intense experience. We started in Lucerne, which I had actually visited last time, and it is so beautiful. And doing a walking tour of Lucerne with that chapel bridge and the rich history, and just little things that are so charming about Switzerland. Like in Lucerne, the oldest clock in town gets to chime a minute before the other clocks, and the food. And it was Christmas market time, and I cannot express enough how incredible it is to see the Christmas markets and the decorations. And actually, I think as a South African or child of Africa, it really brought the whole magic of Christmas home. Those Father Christmas and the reindeers, and it's the children are playing. And I mean, it was chilly, but you just dress properly, and it was just incredible to see that. So I think Lucerne is incredibly picturesque. I believe that they have carnivals there every year, which I would love to go and see. And a lot of their buildings with those murals painted on them, cobbled walkways, the nut cake and the glue vine. So
it really is sort of fairy tale Winter Wonderland, isn't it? It's like literally another world when you go to Europe in winter. And this is why people say to me, but why don't you go in summer? And I said, but you don't understand. You go, I mean, I've been to most countries in summer and I've been in winter, and I keep going back to Switzerland in winter because I love what it does to the country, how it transforms. And, Christmas is huge in Europe. And Switzerland is no exception. Everyone goes in boots and all, and everything is green and red. And in fact, Switzerland has, speaking of green and red, have a tradition that over Christmas period, a lot of the stuff that's going on is done in white. Where we are used to Christmas is green and red. So they and they also don't really celebrate Christmas on the 25th of December as we do.
No, on the 24th, I'm told. Yeah.
Yes, and in fact they start on the 16th or something, I think, when Santa Claus actually pitches up on the 16th already. So it's a whole new tradition, but it's just the most beautiful. And the people are amazing.
They are, and I agree with you. I think, if I was planning to return, I would definitely opt for a winter experience.
And go in February or so when there's more snow.
Oh, yeah. I'll go anytime, but I'll take that advice. So I think, once you've arrived and got a feel of that, and you've got Lake Lucerne, and you've got swans on the river, and it is very, and they have these little skating rings. It's just a completely different world. So, that was the introduction on this trip. And we took a train out. As you know, there's no such thing as Swiss efficiency, and the trains will say, be at the platform at 9:37, and you can literally just step straight onto the train. It's so perfectly coordinated. And we went out to Titlis Engelberg, which is right there. It took about 40 minutes by train, and it's one of the popular ski resorts in the area, and has things like the highest suspension bridge in Europe. And we just to be up there, it was really cute, because as South Africans, when we were seeing little bits of snow from the train, we were getting incredibly excited about a little pile of snow that we could catch a glimpse on and take photographs. And then all of a sudden we took the gondola,
the revolving gondola.
Yeah, the revolving gondola up to the top, and there we were, just completely surrounded by snow with our sunnies and our gloves,
all the Alps
feeling
peaks
very
surrounded
cool.
by them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it energizes you, which, if you travel in a very hot climate, there are a lot of advantages, and you can swim and you can snorkel and you can have all of that, which is always wonderful. But I think that the cold and the snow and the incredible natural beauty really does energize you, and people are so healthy. I mean, when I think of the Swiss, I just think about how fit and healthy they're walking and hiking and skiing, and these little 4-year-olds coming down the slopes. It's really it just is such an outdoors taking advantage of the season, which is
Dawn,
infectious.
When I came back from my first trip, people laughed at me because I said to them, you know what? I'm still trying to find a fat Swiss.
Yeah, I didn't see one. And the chocolate is so good, and the cheese is so
But
good,
they're
and
so
the bread
active.
is so good. So it must be because they're so active. We ate in some beautiful restaurants. So, from there we actually traveled to the Montreux Riviera, which is again
now
just
you're talking.
I know, and you hear these words, you read about these places, and then all of a sudden you're there. You're in the Swiss, Montreux Riviera, and
Lake Geneva.
On Lake Geneva, and we actually arrived in the dark. So to wake up in the morning and open up your hotel window curtain and curtains and just see that lake there was.
And did you realize when you open those curtains and you look over that lake that you're looking at France on the opposite banks?
I had to be told. We were too busy the night before having fondue, which you can't really go to Switzerland in winter and not have fondue. It's. If I had people over for dinner and just served up cheese and bread and a little bit of a gherkin and an onion on the side, they would think I'd completely lost it. But that's what we ate, and it's so social and fun, and the giggles are.
And did you take a walk along the boardwalk and see Freddie Mercury and Charlie Chaplin and Miles Davis?
We had a whole tour of Vevey, which was really quite. It's a really beautiful place.
It's a World Heritage Site, in fact.
I didn't realize.
Yes.
And I saw that big fork that is now in Lake Geneva that depicts the food and the cuisine which is available there. But I didn't realize that Charlie Chaplin was from there, and we took photographs with the little statue of him.
I went to Freddie Mercury's apartment there.
See, I have to go back.
You have to go back. You weren't there long enough.
But I did hear that Paul Kruger had a home.
Yes, he did
in the
indeed.
area. So it was quite nice to have a little South African connection, and I wouldn't mind going and seeing that or learning a little bit more about what he was doing there. I understand why he was there because it's the most incredible place to be, but what else kept him there? I don't know if you know why he was there or why he was connected, or if he was just loving the view like we were.
Oh, well, I would stay there without an invitation.
Exactly. So that was really, I think that, it's just these walkways and everyone's walking their dogs. And, as you say, they're also healthy. And it's very idyllic.
Tell me they took you to the Château de Chillon.
No.
Oh, I don't believe they didn't.
We didn't
take
have
you
time.
there.
You'll have to tell us about that.
That's amazing. You have to. Dawn, you and I have to go to Switzerland together.
Okay.
And you will even see Robbie Burns. He's got his. It's just so steeped in history. It's a castle, right? It literally sort of spills out over into Lake Geneva. It's 5 or 6 minutes from Montreux, but you didn't get there, or up the mountain if you go towards
I think
Berlioz.
I saw the footage.
Yes.
It just sort of looks like it's on an island all
Beautiful.
by itself.
Beautiful. And of course, Villars-sur-Roland, which is my favorite place, up in the mountains. Oh, there's so much, but let's talk about yours.
No, I want to learn from you. I must make notes so I can say, dear Swiss International Airlines, if ever you think me worthy, can we go here too? We did a chocolate making course when we were there.
Fabulous.
With Laderach, which was just great. the chocolate tier, who was this chef who was so French and kind of, like that humorous sarcasm, had us all in our aprons and, conching, I think it's called, and we got to have the whole learn all about how chocolate is made. It's always lovely because if you go to Belgium, they claim they invented chocolate. If you go to Swiss, they do. I think if you go to Italy, everyone has a story about the origin of chocolate. But having done this course, I think that this must definitely be where
I think
it
the
comes
Swiss
from.
chocolates are the best, and I'm not saying it just because I love Switzerland. But of course, you were in Canton Vaud, which is the French part of Switzerland.
Yes, I know. And it was, it was so lovely because we got to make all of this chocolate and have the whole process and then decorate them. And we had little molds so we could, we had maybe, 30 different things from cranberry to, just anything that you wanted to put into your chocolate. But also learning about how they are designing different kinds of chocolates for different clients, and just being in that shop and the packaging. I even have these little tins with Charlie Chaplin shoes, which is kind of a signature thing that they do there. But the rand doesn't go that far with the Swiss franc. So, we just ate while we were making and then took some home with us. We were a little limited with stocking up, unfortunately. But and another thing that we did in Vevey, which I think, I'm always so fascinated with craft. And I love places like Switzerland because, I know that we were out in a special place, but, all of these little shops with where the real craft is being preserved and respected. It's not being moved into a big impersonal shopping mall under brand names, which I think is more of a sort of an Americanized way, of an advancement, or for want of a better word.
Well, the biggest shops that you can find in a place like Switzerland is not these massive shopping malls. You'll never find that.
No.
You will find Co-op and you will find Migros, which is basically like their Pick and Pay, those kind of family
which
stores.
You
don't find massive malls. You find everything is, as you say, they've retained that history.
And they're in these beautiful buildings, and they're so incredibly well preserved. And we actually went and visited a watchmaker, and he was 4th generation watchmaker. And, he showed us, and you can actually do a watchmaking course, so you can learn about it. And I always think it just really enhances your experience when you're traveling to any destination, if you can learn a little bit about the crafts for which that country is made. So whether it's, a cooking course in somewhere, or the chocolate making was perfect for Switzerland. And here this, just being shown the craft and spoken to with such passion by this incredible man who was actually a pilot. He had this kind of sophistication, and it was just, so that was just in the morning in Vevey, the things you do while walking around and meeting Charlie Chaplin.
It's a wonderful place, and of course, if you're there when it's internationally renowned for the annual jazz, the Montreux Jazz concert every year, which
do you know what
huge.
Time that is? What time of year that is?
I actually don't. I think it's in July, but I'd have to have a go and check, because I'm seldom there in July. But I know I went once, and it was absolutely fabulous. And then, of course, but we you know what? I don't think I'm even going to play any music today, because we've still got so much to talk about in Switzerland. We've only just reached. Did you go anyway? Did you remain in the French canton, or did you travel around a bit?
From there, we actually went to the most beautiful ski village that it's kind of a postcard perfect thing of dreams. It's called Saas-Fee, and I don't know if you've been there, but
yes.
I think that we all have these images of ski villages and big fireplaces, and this was all of that personified. Yeah. And I think it was also the first week in December, so it wasn't too busy. More than that, though, we had the great privilege of staying in a brand new hotel before it opened.
Oh, wow.
It's called the Capra, and it's a boutique hotel, and it's sort of just built at the entrance. I mean, I don't know if, just to paint a picture, we took from Montreux side, we took 2 trains and then had to all pile into a bus and wind up this road past all of these really steep road, past these tiny little villages. And it's quite an agricultural area, but it's really steep, and there was a lot of snow on the mountains. And you just wonder about the people who have lived there always lived there, and the life that they have and how they make a living. And it's just was so charming. And then we got to Saas-Fee. It takes no car, so you park your car, and they fetched us in a little sort of 4x4 golf cart from the hotel and checked us in. And it was really a very special experience. The Capra has a Michelin star chef that they bring in from France. So, we had our bacon and eggs made for us the next morning before, by a Michelin star chef. And it really is it's got so much heart, this place. And it's just run by people who you can just feel are going to make a big difference. And I think that as much as Saas-Fee is beautiful and has a lot of hotels, this is kind of set the standard of accommodation apart. So it was an absolute treat to stay there. And we were there for 2 nights, and we had the option of going for skiing lessons, which, I mean, obviously
You hadn't skied before.
I've never
I think because you said you hadn't been to Europe in winter. But you're naturally athletic, Dawn.
It's very nice of you. I'm also very clumsy, so I took out really good travel insurance, and I just said to them, here it is, just so you know. But you feel so intrepid. They took us down to the ski shop and we got kitted out in our outfits, and I had bought ski pants and gloves and thermals, and they've got you in your boots, and you just you feel like you can do this. You're like, this can't be hard at all. It's just so doable. And that was how we sort of started with that moment. And the next morning got all kitted up and had this classic Italian ski instructor, really good looking, and more interested in who you are and where you come from than whether he's going to get you on that slope or not. So that was, so funny. And so 4 of us had our lessons. And I'm pleased to say that besides a couple of really bad falls off the ski lift, I was up, and I in our half day of lessons, I could come down that slope and stop, which is, I think, the most important thing to learn.
The stop is the important thing, but isn't that the most exhilarating feeling when you're skiing down a slope? There's nothing to beat it.
And it's just, we said earlier about the fitness level of the people, and you go to these skiing villages and they're on their bicycles and they have their skis over their shoulders, and so they're cycling up, park the bike, spend the day skiing, which, I mean, if you think about it, you all kitted out, then you go on the ski lift, you go all the way and you ski down, and then it's like on repeat again and again and again, which might make no sense to someone who hasn't experienced it, but you just can't get enough. You just want to go. And I would absolutely recommend a ski holiday to anyone. I think that it must just be the healthiest, most fun, and the food, you have your glühwein, or everyone goes afterwards and meets at a pub, and the skis are all lined up outside, and the drinks are kept cold in snow that's kind of been picked up and put in a bucket, and it's just, it's lovely. So
you're driving me completely crazy. You realize that. I just want to be there now. I'm transporting myself in my mind already.
Yeah, and I think, South Sea is probably, I think if you're going to allow yourself to experience a ski resort in Switzerland, it's probably as beautiful and as they come.
It's one of the best. I love that, and of course I love, as I said to you, Villars-sur-Rolland. To me, that is one of those picture-perfect villages. The people are amazing. I mean, Guy Chanel, who's in charge of tourism there, treat you like royalty. It is a friendly, wonderful little village. And there are so many of these little villages all over Switzerland. Dawn, we only have a few minutes left, but I am going to pose our question for the competition. So you can catch your breath. We're not even having music today because we have such a full show. But folks, you have to listen in because I'm going to ask the first question, and I hope you have your answers ready. When I've asked the question, you will find the answer on the Trafalgar website, and that is trafalgar.com. And remember that your SMSs will cost R1.50 and free SMS bundles do not apply. You can send your answer to 45633. That's SMS 45633. And when you answer, you have to give the following: Trafalgar, your full name, and the answer. So that's Trafalgar, your full name, and the answer to the question, which you will find on their website. And today's question is, how many days would you spend on Trafalgar's Spain, Morocco, and Portugal trip? Gosh, I'm tongue-tied this morning. How many days would you spend on Trafalgar's Spain, Morocco, and Portugal trip? So, of course, you will find the answer on the website. SMS your answer with Trafalgar, your name, and the answer to 45633. Good luck to all of you out there. It's a fabulous prize, and this will run for 10 weeks, and the winner will be drawn on the 11th week. And as I said, that's not the end of it. We will draw 2 more lucky winners who will join me and a group of 20 on a wonderful excursion, but more details about that later. Let's finish talking to Dawn about her trip to Switzerland, because I see she still has lots more to talk about.
I think I could speak about this trip for hours. I think just from a practical perspective, Swiss International Airlines is really it's such an easy way to get there. I mean, they have some really good specials, and I don't think that we naturally think of them as an option when we're traveling to Europe. And even their connecting flights, I think it's Swiss efficiency. So you can arrive in Zurich and be on a next plane in an hour. So, I'm very grateful for the opportunity and to be working with them. But I just think now I think of them when I'm traveling to Europe or looking at flights when I don't think that's naturally what we're doing. And then, My Switzerland, who are the official Swiss tourism body, are incredibly engaging. Everywhere that we went, we also did a tour in Bern on the way back, and we actually toured Bern on scooters, like not personally powered with your foot, like old school scooters all over the cobbled streets, which was unbelievably fun. And everywhere that we went, every place that we ate in, all the tourism bodies, the way they engaged with us on social media, the friendliness, the welcoming, the will to just make sure that our experience is wonderful. It's truly admirable, and there's a lovely gentle pride among the Swiss people, I think, which is, you just sort of don't want to leave. It's definitely a place that I can't recommend enough. And the different cantons and the influences of the, that has on the food. And on the last trip we went to the Italian region. So you've got all the Swiss efficiency with that kind of craziness of the Italians. And so they really have, all of that within their borders, which is quite unusual.
Absolutely. And although the people are very Swiss everywhere, they have their own, as you say, Canton Ticino, which is the Italian part, and Canton Vaud, which is the French. And, so you've got the different cantons and the German. And it's not like going to a different country every time. But Ticino, to me, the Italian part is very different, because once you cross over the Alps to the Ticino side, it's very different to the other side of Switzerland.
Completely different. And that was so interesting on the previous trip. And on that trip, we actually took a train and then a bus through Italy and then back into Switzerland, which was
Isn't that amazing?
So amazing. And, you stop and you're in this Italian region and it's everything you love about Italy, but it's got that wonderful Swiss efficiency and flair, and it's just so sophisticated. But I think I don't know, maybe some people assume the Swiss to be so organized that they won't be warm and relaxed and friendly, but they are.
That's a fallacy.
Completely wonderful.
Absolutely.
And one of the highlights, if I think back, you talk about people in the tourism bodies also, you say going out of their way. When we were in Saas-Fee, we took a walk with torchlight, like old school torch lit fire, in the snow, in the dark, with Bruno, who runs the tourism body there. And then he told us to just watch the mountain, and they lit it up for us.
It's fabulous.
The whole mountain, slowly from the one side to the other, just lit up, and you could see the peaks. And I thought that, just for 6 media from South Africa, it gave me goosebumps. I thought, what an incredible gesture of welcome, to say that they're happy to have us there.
And you wonder why I love going to Switzerland and why I find it so difficult to turn down any invitation, no matter how busy I am, because I'm invited at least 3 or 4 times a year, but who can go 3 or 4 times a year? Me. But no, I don't, because, I do work for a living, but it is the most wonderful country to visit. And of course, you mentioned that I have gone from above Villa, take the little red train up, and then do the snowshoe walking back down to Villa again, as you said, with the lighted pathways. And gosh, what a wonderful experience. It's a totally different experience to any other country I've been to.
Yeah, and it's so different for South Africans to get such a feel of a different kind of Europe. I really think it's the most wonderful destination.
Dawn, I don't know why I have all these notes here. I didn't even look at them.
I
love having you in the studio, because you're obviously just as passionate and enthusiastic about travel as I am. And I'm so happy for you that you finally got to Switzerland in winter. And it goes without saying, I fly everywhere, either Swiss or Edelweiss. To me, that's the only way to fly, because my holiday and my journey starts when I board the aeroplane.
Oh, well, I must say we actually flew business class there on the first trip.
Excuse me.
And on the way back from this trip. And it's that sort of hushed, incredible magic, and people just bringing you bubbly. And I'm thinking, I can do this.
Get used to this.
But honestly, it was the economy class. It's just a great airline. The people are really friendly and they serve you Swiss chocolates after your meal. I mean, you really can't go wrong with that.
Now I have to go and work after this. Do you realize how difficult that is going to be?
Yeah.
Dawn, thank you ever so much for coming in. I would love having you in the studio, and you are going to come in soon and talk to us about your wonderful trip to Mauritius.
I am. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Cathy. It's always such a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Dawn. It's wonderful having you in the studio. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm just going to repeat our competition question again. And that, of course, is your Trafalgar Dream Holiday competition. That first question, and you will find the answer on their website, trafalgar.com. The first question is, how many days would you spend on Trafalgar's Spain, Morocco and Portugal trip? You will find the answer on the website, and then please SMS 45633, 45633, and your answer must include Trafalgar, your name, and the answer to the question. Good luck, everyone, and a new question next week, so get your SMSs in on this week's competition. Well, I hope you enjoyed Passport to the World today, and that you will join us again same time. And Blommy, thank you so much for looking after everything in the studio. Always runs so well when you're here. And, well, join us again same time next week, and we will visit another exciting destination. Until then, happy travels.
Passport to the World is proudly sponsored by Trafalgar. Simply the best way to holiday. Trafalgar offers a myriad guided holidays, such as a 3-country trip to Spain, Portugal, and Morocco at a cost everyone can afford. The reason why you don't have to forfeit your travel plans due to the weak rand-dollar exchange? Trafalgar is offering their 2015 rates for all trips booked for 2016. Visit our website, www.trafalgar.com, and read all about our fabulous guided holidays for singles, couples, groups, and families.